It's a familiar sight in households around the world. Children being entertained and placated by technology. But this is also familiar. Monumental meltdowns when the devices are taken away. They're reactions that are in fact symptoms of one of the major medical challenges of our time. What's being called internet addiction disorder.
On average, kids 8 and under spend more than 2 hours a day looking at a screen. Is that too much? Or could there actually be developmental benefits to screen time? This is Your Brain On, where we explore how the world affects our brains and ourselves. Young brains need a lot of external stimuli to develop, particularly from birth to age 3, what's known as the critical period. It's during this time that children's neurons are making connections for fundamental skills such as vision, hearing, and language. But these needs are based on centuries of human evolution, which used to have nothing to do with screens. Consider a child watching a video instead of listening to parents read a book. It's a far different experience for the brain. Rather than kids learning to focus and imagine the story, the device presents everything to them, so certain cognitive systems become underdeveloped. And when children spend too much time in front of a screen rather than interacting with people, they can have stunted development of the frontal lobe, part of the brain that decodes social interactions. It can become more difficult to develop empathy or learn social cues like facial expressions. What's more, the stimuli from a screen can be a lot. Colors, sounds, stories, all at a super fast pace. That can be sensory overload, releasing stress hormones such as cortisol. It can also overactivate the brain's reward systems, like the addictive hormone dopamine, getting kids used to immediate gratification they wouldn't get in the real world. So most scientists and doctors agree that screen time can alter young, still-forming brains, but in some ways, that change can be positive. Take the results of one recent study that exposed young mice 6 hours daily to audiovisual stimuli similar to those found in a video game. After 10 days, the mice showed signs of hyperactivity, impaired learning, and risk-taking. But the mice also stayed calm in an environment that usually would have stressed them out. Some scientists now argue screen time can help prepare a child's brain for our increasingly fast-paced, high-stimulus world. So, screen time isn't always bad, and it isn't all created equal either. An educational letter-matching game isn't the same as a violent movie. As with many things, the key is moderation. Limiting daily screen time and making sure the child can function in all of modern life. Not only with screens, but in the real world too.
Of technology during this era. Nowadays, technology plays such a very significant role as it helps society in many ways for our daily life, including communication, education, and work. Can you imagine how can we survive without technology in today's fast-moving world? But does technology is important for children, especially in children's development? But it also can lead to pros and cons to children, but depends on how it is used. Okay, so why technology is important for me? In my childhood development? Number 1. Technology makes many things easier for the children, especially in their learning process, with unlimited resources. Number 2. Growing up with technology, a child can be more familiar with the modern world and adapt with developing technologies. Number 3. During this technology era, needs to expose towards technology but with parents' guide. Number 4. Children can interact with parents if stay separately, outstation, or at grandma's house.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Fauzan and I will present about the development of child in technology exposure. There are several advantages, which is its learning, second, to improve multitasking, and third, improve visual spatial development of a child. In its learning, the technology-driven class inspiring students to show up is providing occupational learning and presents an opportunity to trigger interest in other subjects. Technology can also support education in more traditional ways with engaging games to boost vocabularies or through electronic books. In improved multitasking, their studies show that using technology helps young children learn how to multitask more effectively. While multitasking never allows you to fully focus on one area, students can learn how to listen and type to take notes or other multitasking activities that can help them succeed in their future. Special development can be greatly improved when technology like video games is used to help train young students and children. Practicing visual spatial skills with video games can be a great way to improve abilities. Visual spatial skills are needed in a variety of things like map reading, puzzles, and more. There are also disadvantages in technology exposure among children, which is lower attention span, increased risk and lack of privacy, and also increases in aggression. Developing brains are particularly vulnerable to this, and where previous generations may have spent much more time reading, imagining, or participating in activities that require focused attention, brains in children exposed to high volumes of technology may adapt to frequent visual stimulation, rapid change, and little need for imagination. Teenagers and children have grown up in a technological world, and the idea of privacy is somewhat foreign to them. Cybersecurity is a huge element of tech today, but it isn't always perfect. Hackers and criminals can utilize technology to steal identities and harass children. Technology has created an increase of theft, privacy issues, harassment, and more. In multiple studies, including one by the Center Children's Research Institute and the Journal of Youth and Adolescence, found a correlation between simulated violence, often found in popular video games, and heightened aggression. Exposure to violence was found to make children and teens more likely to argue with peers or teachers, and less empathetic and impacted by actual violence.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shafura and I will be reviewing on management of technology among children. As you can see nowadays, parents are always worried about their child addiction toward technology such as using phones, tablets or any screen devices while surfing internet. As you can observe in video clip that we have played before, technology has shown bad and good effect as well on child brain. Key is moderation, but how we are going to moderate it? First of all, parenting goal. Family values are important as child education. Be a good example. Use less phone in front of them and nurture your relationship with your child. Be mindful, learn about your child brain development phase, where you can observe from the clip and learn child psychology and apply it in your life. And the third one is acknowledge the values of games and screen time. Make their timetable and practice along with them, teach them a good discipline, invite them to do activities to develop their skill, not only on screen but also in a real world. The last one is teach respect and care for the body. Show them a good healthy lifestyles from their healthy diet to have a good sleep and practice along with them. To prove our research, we have done a survey where you can see the statistic as a pie chart, where we have asked the parents would they let their child to use the technology or not. Majority of them are still confused whether to let them or not. But as you can see from the conclusion of the review and from the research, I can say yes, we can let them, but with the limitation of timing, where the bar graph shows that limitation is around 2 to 4 hours per day usage of the technology among children. So is it a good, because it gives a good and bad effects.